Hello. All right, so I'm Christina Lovelace.
I'm Akinyele
Lovelace.
Lovelace.
So this is my husband.
Hi.
Today, I thought it would be really good to discuss our approach to how we planned our wedding and what we wish we would have done different or what we would have kept the same. I think it's important that people who are planning their wedding, couples who are planning their wedding, get a good point of view from both perspectives, the bride and the groom. And we've been married for quite some time. So we've had a lot of years to reflect. And I was not always a wedding planner. We also did not always have any money. Like when we got married.
Very true. Very true.
So we're just going to take some time to discuss our wedding experience. And hopefully that will help you out. All right. So when we're talking about a wedding, the way that I used to understand a wedding was that it was something we had to do if we were going to get married. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that was the thought. That was the concept, that it was kind of just part of your maturation into adulthood. Like it was something that you had to do.
Do you think so? Do you think that?
Still, no. I think that I would want to look at it even from a bigger perspective. It's more of a celebration of families. Like it's a celebration of a moment in time that you never get back. So I think whatever you want to call it, I think bringing families together collectively to celebrate a happy day, I think is something that I would always subscribe to, whatever you want to call it.
Okay, so you don't have to do a wedding. That's what you're saying, but
no, I wouldn't.
So you have to do the wedding. You don't have to do the wedding.
Sorry, you don't have to do the wedding.
Okay,
but it damn sure is a lot of fun. And so I'm signing up for the wedding every time.
Okay.
I say that. So
all right,
but you don't have to. You don't have to. There's not a have to here.
All right, so let's start off with some things that we would change. I'll start with you. We'll start with you.
All right. So what would I change?
Yeah. What would you change about our wedding?
I would have had...
By the way, we've been married for almost 14 years. So to put a little bit of... So this has been a lot of time to reflect on what we would have done differently.
I definitely would have had... I would have had a plan for the groomsmen for the date of the actual event. When I really recall that, I think about what we were doing. And for a good portion of the time, we were kind of just sitting around hanging out in our tuxedos in the summer.
Oh,
and I don't...
July.
Yeah, July.
July.
So I think in retrospect, what would I have done? I would have made sure I'd accounted for all the participating groomsmen that were in my wedding, and we would have done something that morning. We would have done the things that we would have loved to have done together collectively, whether it was go fishing or golf or bowling or something, just to kind of create some sobriety if anyone was out partying the night before, but also to create like
bowling creates sobriety.
Well, activity, right? An activity
Okay.
Or being in a location.
Yeah.
Besides just sitting and waiting, because a lot of times for the groomsmen, they're kind of done. Like they put their stuff on, you help them with their tux, you take a few pictures, and that's it. In retrospect, I think we probably would have gotten to the limo and should have went somewhere to do something early in the morning or sometime before the wedding, because traditionally I think like weddings are usually in the afternoon or early in that day.
Ours was in the late afternoon, like early evening. So you had plenty of time.
So we had plenty of time to like
sat around,
not be dressed in your tuxedo, but to do something collectively together to celebrate this day. And I think that would have been a great time because people have taken the time out of their day to be with you. Yeah. And so giving them that kind of not support, but acknowledgement, for setting the time to be a part of your event was something I would have changed.
Okay. I think I would have spent more money on the things that I really loved. I don't actually think I cared much about what my wedding really looked like or if it represented me. I was very concerned about how much money I was spending. And, he was a student. Well, he had just graduated from being a student, and we were going to start new jobs, and it was just a lot going on. We were going to relocate. So,
well, technically I was a resident.
okay,
So I want to put that out there. I
you
was a
were,
resident.
let's just not,
So
we
that
don't have
was-
to add, we,
No, that's important, because for those student, when you're thinking student out of college, right, versus student or residency,
it's just as bad.
They're bad,
It's just as bad.
but it gives context.
You're going off topic.
It gives
this
context
is just as bad.
to what's going on in your life.
It gives context that we did not have a ton of
No
money
money.
to just be
We had no
blowing.
money.
However,
No money.
I was not mindful of the things I was picking. I really was just like, what can you give me for this price? And that's what I was going to take. It didn't matter if I loved it. It didn't matter if I hated it. If it was in my budget, I was going for it. And I just wasn't willing to even consider other things. I mean, I had Groomzilla over here who wanted uplighting and all kind of, yeah.
In reality, though, I didn't even understand a lot of what was going on, right? It just sounded pretty cool, because
Actually,
at the
the
time,
uplighting ended up being really nice. It did look
Yeah,
really pretty,
like,
but I didn't even get it. Yeah.
I really didn't get it. And I think in retrospect, I definitely would have wanted to see more things,
Yeah.
or see more options.
Yeah.
I probably would have known what I know now. I
I
probably
bulldozed you though.
I would have,
bulldozed you.
but I would have wanted to go see the lighting effects. I'd want to go see kind of what the ice sculpture might have looked like.
Yeah.
I
What we were
would've-
gonna get, like what it was.
What were we gonna get,
Yeah.
and have some kind of insight on that to really take it all in. Knowing what the wait staff was going to actually do. How do they actually move the crowd from one place to the next?
Yeah.
How do they keep the people at my wedding informed? What happens when unexpected people show up to the venue site? How will you accommodate them, right? Like, I think I didn't really think about all those concepts. What about the people that smoke cigarettes? If this is a non-smoking venue, right? Where do they go, right? And what about for all my people out of town? So I think
that's a million. We did not ask any of those.
right.
questions.
So I just think as a groom in this scenario, I probably
as a host, right?
Well,
As
sure.
a host,
Sure,
for other humans,
other people being
other
a part of this event, it wasn't all about me or us in that way. It was more about them, and I probably would have had a little bit more thought about them going into this. At the time, you're right. As a resident student, right, you're kind of really obsessing about yourself and your testing, and you're thinking about all these other things that are impactful, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter, because what really matters about this event are the people that actually care about you and love you. And I think if I would have done something different, I probably would have taken more time to really be thoughtful about all the people that are going to be at my event.
Yeah, totally.
Is there an elevator? I had some elderly parents who had to go up a couple flight of steps. How much walking do they actually have to do? Where can they go if they have a wheelchair, right? Those things never crossed my mind. As a healthcare provider, I have to admit, and I think I would have thought about those things a little bit differently.
Yeah, I agree. I did not realize that the impact of a wedding, I didn't get it.
Yeah.
I didn't understand. I didn't understand the impact of a wedding, of a marriage, and how that impacts us as a couple and our family. I didn't realize how transformational, right? How transformational the process really is. And I really wish if I could have done something over, that I really took the time to embrace the transformation and to like really be in it. Because the memories, I mean, we had an amazing wedding, so let's not, but I feel like our minds were in different places. Really, they should have been focused on our wonderful family that came to celebrate us, and of course, like what represented us the best, Those are a few things that we could have done better, that, we would have changed if we could go back. So spending more money and
But on certain things.
On certain things. To end the money that we spent actually making it worthwhile, making it worth something that we love, and focusing more on our guest experience, really understanding what our guests need, what they would love, what they would like. So, right, did I wrap that up?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah. All right, as far as things we did right.
Oh.
What do you think?
We kept it moving. I think that I think that it was great in the fact.
Kept it moving?
Yeah, right.
What does that mean?
We had our ceremony, and then from there, everyone was transitioned to a whole nother location, where there was a whole different vibe. There was a harpist, right? There was an ice sculpture. There was just a lot of food.
We're Jersey people. There was so
much food at just kind of this moment where people thought this was the actual.
It was the cocktail hour.
But they thought it was they thought it was time to eat. They were confused, and it was in a different location within the venue, which I thought was great. And then they were then surprised when they were then brought to the main event, right? And that was.
They were like, "This is not it. We just ate all this food."
So I thought that was great, right? Like even though we never left the location, I think it was great having that.
Yeah, different locations for each. The flow of the event was awesome.
The flow was great.
Yeah.
We actually mixed it up. We had a DJ and we had a performance, right? Throughout the event. So
we had progression, right? We had progression and entertainment.
We had different entertainment, throughout the times, and some was for some people, and some things were not for others. And so I think having that variation of musicians and artistry going on, I thought was an excellent touch, right? When we're talking about that, I think also having a shuttle that was available to taking our out-of-town guests to their hotel that we had found for them, or that we had kind of reserved for them, to making them. We
did, because we had a brunch the day after.
Making them feel available, right? And so we did that. We were very welcoming to them. We stayed at the hotel that we hosted them at right at the time, so we could actually even we can see them and eat with them in the morning.
Eat with them in the morning.
So I thought that was really good. That was a place where we could all gather and be together.
Yeah.
I felt like just the entire day itself had a different flow and even a color feel throughout the course of the day, based on even the amount of light that was coming into the venue. So we went from a daytime feeling to
nighttime party,
midday to nighttime. So even when you look at your pictures, we look at our pictures, there's a variety of time that has elapsed where you can actually look and see.
I didn't even think about
that. And I thought that was excellent. Although it was not intentional by any stretch of the imagination, it was just the value of having an event in the summertime, right, where you have a lot of extra daylight, and then you can have some nighttime kind of scenes. So I thought that was excellent. I thought at the time us having a photographer and a videographer.
Man, we were trailblazers back then.
Was great.
I still argue with people to this day about needing a videographer.
Highly recommend that one as well.
Highly recommend.
I thought.
We were winners.
Yeah.
Oh, something I definitely think we got right. We hired a wedding planner.
Oh, we absolutely hired.
We hired a wedding planner, and it was 14 years ago. The internet was not like the powerhouse that it is today. Okay, I mean, it was available, but it wasn't. We didn't have all this Zoom and meeting and all this other stuff. So we met Soraya. We met our wedding planner at Panera Bread, maybe?
It was a Panera Bread.
I think it was a Panera Bread. We met, we had a meeting. I think we did we meet with any other wedding planner after that? I think we didn't. We really lucked up because we only met with one. But you know what? We loved her so much. Immediately, we just knew the connection. Yeah, the company, the Finishing Touch. I don't think that they actually are in business anymore. They were in New Jersey, but they were awesome. Soraya, to this day, she was our wedding planner that day. It was her first wedding ever. She actually just started working for the company. The owner, Stephanie, she was excellent. But I mean, they really guided us. We trusted them. We trusted them to do their job. And they did an excellent job, especially, we were two busy professionals. We just didn't have the time to dedicate to, just the amount of thought that had to go into this event. And it was like a multi-day situation. We had a rehearsal dinner that was quite extravagant with Brazilian dancers or something. Then we had our wedding, and then we had the day after, brunch and breakfast brunch. And honestly, that was a wedding weekend we had, basically. And now that I think about it.
I would agree.
And they really helped us get all that stuff done without, obviously we're having to work. I'm a nurse. I was a nurse at the time. I was working 12-hour shifts. Like I can't plan a wedding and work 12-hour shifts. It's not a thing.
And I thought it was really important for us, if we're going to spend the money.
Yeah. Have a trusted professional. If you want to spend all this money, thousands and thousands of dollars.
Because even the venue that we were at had a maitre d', but his responsibility was just the movement at that venue at that time, but there's so many other moving parts that can occur.
That's true.
Even outside of that.
I mean, she guided us with our checklist, with what we were missing, what we needed to do, and what times we needed to do
other vendors and the times that they needed to be there, and any mishaps that might have occurred during our event, we never knew about them. And I'm pretty sure there were some mishaps. Yeah,
there was a lot of mishaps.
There were a lot of things that probably occurred that we knew nothing about. And
Wonderful.
That's exactly how it was supposed to be.
Yeah, she told me about something just like a couple years ago. I'm like, what? When?
And the only concerns we really should have had was cutting the cake and, whatever other rituals that you might have to do for your wedding. Is all that you really should care about, and then getting up and talking to everybody, right?
Really spending time with your family.
No one should be talking to you about why the flowers didn't get delivered and what we're going to do about it in the meantime. That should never be a concern for this one special day, because that's really all it is. It's just it's one day, and you'd want for that one day to be something that you could spend with your family and friends, right? And so I think that was a great thing that we did, and would recommend it every time.
That brings us to my next thing. What does our wedding symbolize to you?
Oh, what does wedding symbolize?
Yeah. For those that are thinking about getting married and having this wedding, what does the actual wedding, the celebration, what does that symbolize for you? I'll go first. For me, it symbolizes the coming together of our families. The one thing after all these years that I have learned that is so important is that I cannot get rid of his family and he can't get rid of mine. No matter what, through thick and thin. They are my family now, and it's so important that we celebrate that together, because we are a collaborative effort. And when I say collaborative, I don't just mean me and him. I mean both of our families together. So many things have happened over the years where our families have had to come together and have had to work together. Various reasons, good and bad. It was kind of like the kickoff to what life had in store for us. And so I feel like it symbolized the collaborative effort of both families, because if you think about it along the way in planning, you are getting together along the way in planning, right? I took your mom with me to go pick out dresses, and my mom came with me. I don't know, and then the flowers and the this and the that. And so there were so many opportunities where we did get together along the way. The immediate family first, and then obviously the extended and big family, later. But there was just so many times along the way that we worked together as teams, and it has helped us along the way. It just the kickoff to getting to know each other. And I think that was really important to lay a foundation, because our family has just played a very instrumental part in us being us and being a strong marriage. And so starting with them and having this collaborative celebration, I think that's a big deal.
Yeah, to me, when I'm thinking about this question, I think of a ribbon cutting. A wedding is like a ribbon cutting, right? You have all the constituents available who have invested their time into this. Constituents, that's such a good into this company, right, or to this institution, right? Because I feel like
everything goes back to business in the Lovelace household.
Well, a marriage is a business. A marriage is an I feel like it's an institution. I feel like it is. I feel like it's right. It's our public acknowledgement that we are of indicating to the world that we're doing this, and that all the people that are behind us in this ribbon cutting have our backs in this. And that this is our first step of many to creating something astounding, right? And so I think that's what the wedding represented to me when I think about it in that time. Wedding also represents transitions in life, and we all go through transitions. And a wedding is one of those happy transitions. And as I've gotten older, the transitions, they're usually, graduations or going from kindergarten to first grade and so on and so forth. But then there are these other transitions that occur in our lives as people. And I think stating and dedicating yourself to one person and to achieving a goal, and whether
as a team,
as a team, I think is just part of the maturation process as adults. It's not for everybody, but it's for me, or it's for us, and I think that's beautiful, and I think that's what it signifies. And so I'm very proud of it, and love to do it again.
Aw, thanks.
You're welcome.
All right, so this is our 2 cents about our wedding and what we would have done and what we, wouldn't have changed. But all in all, just know that, if you are planning a wedding, there is no right or wrong way to do it. But take your time and really live in those moments. The most valuable thing that we have is time, and planning with your partner, you learn so much about them while you're planning with them, and you're also spending a lot of time with them, and you're spending a lot of time with your family during that pivotal planning process, as well as the wedding day, and don't take it for granted, because those are such important moments that later in life you will cherish with all your heart. So just consider that and think about that while you're planning. Anyway, we'll talk to you soon.